Greetings and welcome to the Obscure Room. I'm that BioMechanical dude and I'm an idiot who likes to talk about obscure retro games, so I decided to make a show about it. Here I'll be reviewing games that never got any attention when they came out, or ones that had their 15 minutes of glory and then were thrown out of the mainstream. Whether the games are good, bad, or just okay, they will be reviewed. Let's take a look at our first game, Astyanax. Astyanax was originally an arcade game by Jaleco. In Japan it was known as Lord of King. It was successful enough and was later ported to the NES. This is the version we're gonna look at today. The plot follows 16-year-old Astyanax. To get one thing out of the way, a lot of people say how this is a badass name and you don't want to mess with a guy who carries it. Well, I did some research and yes, there was a character in Greek mythology named Astyanax, and yes, he was the son of Hector, the Prince of Troy. But when he was still a little kid, Troy got taken over by the Greeks, and to make sure he doesn't avenge his father when he grows up, they threw him from the city walls. How about that? I mean, Astyanax doesn't look so tough now, does he? Hey Astyanax, would you like some pavement pie? Anyway, the Astyanax in the game has a recurring dream about a girl calling him. He can't stop thinking about it and wonders what it means. One day he's walking to school when the girl calls him in real life. He turns around, the son starts having a seizure, and BAM! Title screen. Well, that's one way to hook the player. Now I want to know what that was all about. Astyanax finds himself transported into a new magical world which we can't see. His initial reaction is, woo! What? He meets a fairy named Cutie who explains she brought him here because the land of Remlia needs his help. Apparently the evil wizard Blackhorn has captured Princess Rosebud. Astyanax, like a lot of other video game characters, has to save her. He naturally asks, how the hell am I supposed to do that? I'm just 16. But Cutie explains that he has the miracle power and is destined to save them all, blah 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 Shadowgate. Take this axe, Bash, she says. Wait, I'm confused already. Is the axe's name Bash? Is she calling Astyanax Bash? Is he supposed to bash? I don't know, let's just start the game. So we start the first level. Off the bat, the game's presentation is pretty good. We have nice big sprites for the characters and detailed backgrounds. The graphics do a good job on showing all the land you traverse. You pass through castles, roads, caves, swamps, bridges, etc. The levels also have different names to add flavor and really make you feel like you're on a journey. Some of the palette choices are not the best, as shown by the first level, but other than that, it's pretty good. Then there's the music. It's catchy and energetic, though nothing too incredible. Also, it seems that they didn't have a lot of memory for it, because a lot of the levels reuse tracks already used in the cutscenes, which I'll tell you more about later. The game is your typical hack and slash side-scroller. You go forward, you jump, you slaughter everything in your way, you know the drill. The combat, however, has an interesting mechanic. You have this meter at the bottom, which represents the strength of your attack. Every time you swing, it depletes completely and has to charge. If you attack again immediately, the enemies won't be hurt a lot, but if you wait for the meter to refill, you'll be able to deal more damage. Of course, while you're waiting for it, you'll have to avoid the enemy's attacks, which can add more challenge to the game. Or you can just keep tapping the button until your thumb passes out or something. So far, the game sounds awesome on paper, but the execution is not that great. The first enemies you will encounter are floating bubbly things, skeletons, and giant metroids with a huge red eye. The skeletons are nothing special, they just dangle around, they attack you, standard stuff. The bubbly things and the metroids, however, are a different story. They fly at these strange altitudes, so you have to time your attack when you jump up and hit them. This is fine, but when you're facing a few of them at once, things get messy. I mean, look at this setup. You've got the Metroid constantly changing altitudes and throwing these bouncing ball thingies which explode, but you also got the bubbly things coming at you, but you also got to fight a skeleton. You somehow kill the Metroid, but another one spawns in its place. You try to run away, but then this thing comes out of the ground and throws seeds at you. Oh, what the hell do I do? You think. But then you press up and B at the same time and the screen clears. These are the spells, probably intended for these situations. You've got the fire spell, which kills all the enemies on the screen, you've got the lightning spell, which does the same but it's stronger, and you've got the circular thingy spell, which stops time. You can't use the spells all the time, however. You have magic points that decrease upon casting them. Your life and your magic points are restored at the end of each level, but come on, I know you want more. You want to keep going even though you're practically dead, right? Well, that's why they're power-ups. You can find the power-ups in these yellow totem poles that you have to destroy. There are potions which look like bombs that restore your health and or magic points. There are extra lives, there are these things which don't do anything at all, and these small axes that upgrade your axe to a dinky little spear. Yay! Actually, the spear is a stronger weapon, believe it or not. And if you pick up the power-up again, you'll get a sword. If you die, however, your weapon is downgraded to keep things interesting. You can also find Cutie. How did she get in there? She'll let you choose whether to upgrade your weapon or restore your life and magic. This is all great, but I have one question. If she has access to stronger weapons, why did she give me the axe in the beginning? You want to troll me, don't you, you stupid little... So now that you've got your spells, your upgrades, and another doodly da the game should be awesome, right? Well, not quite. There are still a lot of annoying setups where you won't be able to rely on your spells. Not to mention, the hit detection is kinda picky, which can work to your advantage at times, but for the most part you'll get hit without knowing what's going on. Not to mention, there isn't much variety when it comes to the enemies. Well, okay, you will face stuff like coconut Pac-Mans coming out of the ground, whatever these mockeries of nature are, flopping fish, these guys that look awfully familiar, and pink skeletons! Yeah, you may be laughing, but these guys are tough and will take a while to kill. Not to mention, they shoot sonic booms. Sonic boom! At the end of each level, you will fight a mini-boss. In the first level, you fight this red two-headed guy that shoots stuff at you and turns into a bouncing ball. He's pretty easy, though somewhat fast, and you might not be able to get out of the way when he comes at you. After that, you fight the real boss. Now you thought the enemies were weird? Well, check out the bosses. You have this thing which detaches its head and shoots pink stars. Also, his name is Caesar. You also have a brain Medusa, a mini octopus insect thing in a shell, a monster made of roots. It's crazy. They may all seem threatening, but for the most part are stupid easy, especially if you can use your spells. The time stopping spell seems to work best, especially if the bosses are being cheap. Later on in the game, you'll go through some vertical scrolling levels. There is not much to say about them. When jumping, you have to be careful, because if you jump and go through a platform, you won't be able to move left or right. This can get really annoying and you will miss a lot of platforms because of it. Fortunately, if you fall down, you won't die. The screen will scroll down with you and you will be able to land on a lower platform. So that's neat. As you already know, the game's story is told through cutscenes. After each level, you will see a new cutscene that will advance the story. This is nothing special nowadays, but back then, it was freaking amazing. The whole thing started with Ninja Gaiden for the NES and its anime-style storytelling. So I guess the people at Jaleco thought, hey, we can do that too. Unlike in Ninja Gaiden, however, there is no point for these cutscenes. The story is your generic princess is kidnapped, hero goes to save her scenario. Nothing else happens, so most of the cutscenes are just Blackhorn telling his main lackey, what was his name again? Corn Dog? That we've passed a level, which we already know, so what's the point? In one cutscene, Astyanax and Cutie have a conversation that pretty much goes like this. You miss your world, don't you, Astyanax? You bet your ass I do. Yeah, I shouldn't have brought you here. Sorry about that. Again, what's the point? Ninja Gaiden had a progressing plot filled with twists and turns. This game doesn't have any of that. The only cutscenes that have any purpose are the beginning and ending ones. So Astyanax and Cutie finally get to Blackhorn's castle Thelena and we get ready for the last two levels. The first one is a maze. It's kinda like if you take Friday the 13th for NES and the last level of Super Mario Bros. And put them together in a blender. Before the level, Princess Rosebud tells you telepathically to look at the signs. What, these signs? Well, no. These signs won't tell you anything. I mean, what could they even mean anyway? I don't even know what I'm looking at! It's actually very simple. Every time a skeleton spawns in front of a certain door, go in that door and you'll get to the next room. Also, I need to mention, when you want to go through a door, you don't just press up like in other games. You have to hold it. Believe me, that info will save you a lot of headaches when you start the level. At the end of the level, you fight the skeleton Statue of Liberty. Then you meet Corn Dog. Okay, jokes aside, his name is actually Thorn Dog, but what kind of name is that anyway? He's not too hard, just avoid the lasers he shoots, chop off his hand, and hit whatever this thing is. You defeat him, but he reveals that he has put a spell on Astyanax and now he'll die with him. That is unless someone sacrifices their life to save our hero. Cutie decides she'll do it. So long, Astyanax. Maybe someday. Alas, poor cutie. We didn't fucking know you! Astyanax gets really pissed off and we get to the final level. It's basically an endurance round where you have to fight most of the mini-bosses one by one. After that, it's time for the final showdown with Blackhorn. The cutscene before it goes like this. Kid, I'm gonna kick your ass. Oh yeah? Yeah. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah? Oh, shut up and fight already. Blackhorn is cheap because he constantly uses the time-stopping spell. If you're close to him while you're frozen, he'll hit you with his sword. If you're far away, he'll use the lightning spell on you. You have to take him down as fast as possible. You defeat him, but he has a second form, and that is the Red Eyes Black Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! He shoots fireballs that fall down and go towards you. They're easy to dodge, so you just gotta hit his heart and make sure you're far away when he freezes you, unless you want to get trampled over. The battle goes on, Blackhorn changes colors, you start to run out of life and magic points, and oh god, don't let me die! Yeah! With Blackhorn defeated, Princess Rosebud is free. She thanks Astyanax and offers him to go to Remlia for a celebration, but he decides he's had enough for one day, and that he actually has parents who are probably worried sick about him, so he wishes to go back to Earth. The princess bends her arm in a poorly drawn fashion and sends him to his home. But it looks like she sent something else too. Astyanax, something else too? There's like a girl here waiting for you. Astyanax! Hold on. Huh? You! Cutie runs to Astyanax, whose face looks like he just met a fangirl that'll stalk him for the rest of his life. And they get together, I guess. To the game's credit, that makes much more sense than, say, Astyanax getting the princess. And then the game just ends. No credits, nothing, it just waits for you to turn off the NES. Huh, so that was Astyanax. It was... it's not a bad game, and a lot of people fondly remember it to this day. The graphics, music, and overall feel are pretty nice, but the enemies are annoying, there is not much variety, and the cutscenes are pointless. I hope you enjoyed this first review. Join me next time when I look at another action fantasy game that had a similar formula and, in my opinion, did it much better. However, it never got the praise it deserves. Leave your comments below and take care until the next visit to the Obscure Room.